There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Oh, what's up and welcome into episode number 73 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Matt Gann, Mark Hall, Patrick Kurtzberger, no Ryan Tyson this week. Today is Thursday, June 1st. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcast, that you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, how we doing? Spring, I feel as though has come and gone already in the state of Oklahoma. It was 90 degrees today, quite hot here, and I feel like spring no longer exists. It was fun while it lasted for 2 weeks, but here we are. It's hot.
You really go from winter to spring football to summer recruiting season, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, there's some time off, and then, you know, you just track your year by what the Sooners are doing.
100%. Yeah. They're what the Sooners are doing, what my Dolphins are doing. They're in OTAs right now. So, you know, I'm on that train as well. Patrick, how's West Coast weather that never changes ever?
Dude, no, it's been an awful year. I think I heard we had 20 gray days in the month of May. Like it's gray and 65 every day. It's like I'm living in the Northwest.
Strong.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a martyr.
It's hard being you, man.
Yeah, no, it sucks, man. It's just cloudy all the time.
Yeah, you're like, why did I even move out here?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to make you listen to our problems, Pat, with your gray days.
I just want to take the hoodie off.
You're really
man.
going through it.
I just want to take off the hoodie.
He's a guy who's always sunshiny, Matt Gann. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
You know, the dog days of summer are ahead. There's not a whole lot going on. We only have the NBA, NHL. That's about to be done the next week or so. So it's just a slow time of the year, and it's dreadfully hot. The worst time of the year. What more do you want?
Yeah, pretty slow. But I have some good news for you, boys. Some good news. 93 days away from the Oklahoma Sooners kicking off for football. That would be it's prime. I can't wait. We got a lot to talk about this episode. Also, shout out to our newest Twitter follower, Bill Bedenbow of the Oklahoma Sooners. Shout out
Offensive
to Bill.
line,
Coach B. We love you, man. He interacts with us on Twitter. Why don't you do it as well? Follow us on Twitter.
Right.
Coach Bedenbow thinks our content's good enough that he wants to subscribe, watch what's going on. You may as well too. Program Guys with a Z on our Twitter.
Retweet our conversation about his offensive line.
Yeah.
Bang.
He's a king. He's the best. But that was pretty cool. That was a cool little thing that happened. Was that over the weekend? Over Memorial Day weekend?
Yes.
Maybe
Monday,
or
yeah.
maybe even Monday. It was over the holiday.
That's Memorial Day.
Yeah, thank you. You're right. Good looking out. Okay, so let's get to some news, right? Some recruiting
That's
news.
what Coach would want.
That's what Coach.
That's what Coach wants.
I feel like that's just what it's got to be from now on. It's just if that's what Coach wants. Okay, some commitments to announce. Ashton Logan, he's a punter. He's transferring from Colorado. 6'2", 185, 13th best punter in his 2022 class from Orange, California. And he punted 17 times for Colorado, 41 yards per punt. 4 of those punts landed within the opponent's 20-yard line. That's a lot of deep diving stats for a punter right there. Let me tell you right now. So I'm
thinking 6'2", 185. Can he run a route?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about he doesn't get any burn as a punter, so we find a spot for him at tight end or like pack on a few pounds. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Out.
Yeah. I mean,
Matt, do you know who else we have at punter this season coming in?
No idea.
Yeah,
But
no,
it is a vital position because our punter last
There you
year
go.
did help us out quite a bit. He was probably the MVP some of the games last year. So it's important to have a good punter to change the field positioning, especially if he can boot it deep. And I mean, 10% of his kicks landed inside the 20. That's what you want to do, pin him deep and force him back. So We'll see what this guy's got. But I have no idea who the kicker or the punter. Usually, I feel like every season, it's kind of up in the air of who's going to actually be starting in those specialty positions.
I feel like Zach Schmidt's going to be the kicker, but
Yeah.
that punter spot after Michael Turk goes to Mason's Miami Dolphins after the draft, who knows who's going to fill in that spot. So on a serious note, it's probably good competition to bring in. Whether he
Yeah, this
wins
is
the
our
job
second-
or not, it's someone.
I believe this is our second punter from the transfer portal. The other one was Luca Zengo who came in.
Man, sucks to be that guy, right?
No one is more inside punter than Patrick Hertzberger. Let me tell you right now. If you got punter news, Patrick's
Let me
got
know.
it. Patrick's
Oh,
got it.
wait. Hey, all right. This is way off topic. Patrick and Matt, did y'all see the news today that Harry Kane wants to be an NFL kicker at some
I did.
point in his career?
Yeah.
And
How old
thinks
is
it's
he now?
possible. Do y'all think he's going to do it? Do y'all think it's
I
real?
think Harry's probably 32 tops.
I think
Yeah,
he's way
I mean,
older than that.
he could do it. I think most English soccer Premier League players could do it.
I'd love to.
I don't know.
Patrick
Kicking
disrespects field goal
a soccer ball and kicking a football are completely different.
Yeah.
So I would have to see him. I'm sure he's got the leg. I have no doubt he could launch.
They have
it,
the
but
leg. It's a matter. It's
more about
29.
the accuracy more
Yeah.
than anything for me.
Yeah.
You
But
sure?
again, like if you give that guy, he's one of the best strikers in the world. If you give him 3 months kicking a football, he'll be able to get it done. I think.
I kind of sort of think if you give him a summer and that's
Yeah.
all he's doing, by the end of that summer, he's going to be pretty good at it.
Let us know
We'll
down
see
below
what
in the comments on our YouTube channel. What if you think Harry Kane could be a punter or a kicker? I guess I should say a kicker. He wants to be a kicker. So yeah. The recruiting news. Crystal ball for Easton Baker. He's a 3-star athlete, 6', 190 from Utah. Tuele, Utah. I don't know. Tuele. Who knows? Parker Thune with that crystal ball as well. Look, folks, this is where we're at right now. You know, just not a lot happened. We're just there's just not. We're waiting for the July bump that is inevitably going to come. Post cookout barbecue, whatever you want to call it. Like that's kind of what we're waiting on now. A lot of boots on the ground, recruiting. We're not going to hear a lot of stuff. I don't think for the next 2 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks is going to be pretty dead in the recruiting.
Yeah.
It's so slow that we're talking about white guys from Utah. Okay, this is not June might get hot, July might get hot. Look out for August right before the season starts, maybe. But I pulled up Easton Baker's college list on 24/7 Sports, and the top 5 are us, Illinois, Washington State, BYU, and Air Force. So
Yeah.
if we enter that battle, we should win that battle. And we offered him, we absolutely should get him. That's the way that's the way Oklahoma should work to a recruit like that. That's who we ought to be.
Matt, anything? No. So some exciting.
Hey, before we move on, a few weeks ago we discussed Lane Jenkins, a community college transfer that had committed to Oklahoma. He turns out took a visit to Illinois after that commitment to Oklahoma and is now committed to Illinois and will not be coming to Oklahoma. So I believe the way it worked was that Oklahoma called him and said, hey, no way, that's not really how we do this. But one way or another, he's no longer coming. So we had mentioned that before. I wanted to clear that up now.
Yeah. Good clarification. If I had to guess, I think they offered him a little more playtime in Illinois and sooner. I think they probably told him, look, you don't have to worry about us recruiting 4 or 5-star guys at your position group. You know, you're going to be competing from day one to get on the field. And so, yeah.
Also, if he took that visit after he committed, we gave him a call and said, see you later.
BV's policy.
According to the policy, we've said it for 2 years now. If the policy's true, then that's what happened. But I haven't ever heard any confirmed news that that's how it goes. I just haven't. And again, a little refresher from all of his press conferences, what it sounds like is you're committed. That's great. We're counting you on our roster. As soon as you go on another visit, that's when we're not counting you as part of that class. We'll still recruit you and all of that stuff, but we no longer count you as a commit. Whether you think you're committed or not, we don't count you as that. So that's
which means in the end game, we might sign someone else instead of you. That's what like the logical endpoint of that becomes.
I feel like that's
Sorry,
the part
I wanted to- I
I
wanted to
feel like
throw
that's
that
the
in.
part. I feel like that's the part I always miss, and you always wrap up for me after I give
Well,
that
it's
little spiel.
just-
But you're right.
The thing is, like, yeah, we're gonna keep recruiting you, but man, you're not now jumping the list if we found another guy that we like. Is sort of I think what you mean by that and how we've taken to hopefully understanding the policy.
Pat, Matt, anything before we move on?
Nope.
All right. So game times were announced for a select amount of games, or
Four.
it wasn't all of them. It was four games, including the opener against Arkansas State, 11 a.m. kick.
Woo!
Yeah.
I love it.
One of two 11 a.m. kicks for the Sooners. That is a TCU game as well. November 24th, 11 a.m. kick for that as well.
That's such a terrible. I was considering coming for the game, but there is no way I can make it on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Wait, is it the Friday or the Saturday?
Yes,
It's
Friday.
the Friday. It's the Friday after
A
Thanksgiving.
Friday 11 a.m. game.
Yeah, I know.
Come on,
After
guys.
Thanksgiving?
I'm gonna have a great
Yeah.
time at my parents' house, but I can't make it to that game.
I know.
Thanksgiving weekend.
And that could be a very, very critical game for us as well. 11 a.m. against
Yeah.
TCU, last game of the
Dude.
season.
For sure.
That
You're
sucks.
actually right. Depending on the season, maybe I can't make it to Thanksgiving. That's the hard
Yeah.
decision that has to
Yeah.
be made.
Look, I think your parents would understand. September 9th.
Jamie will sit with me.
Yeah, September 9th, another home game. SMU. OU welcomes SMU. That's a 5 p.m. game. And then the week after that, that's a week 3 game against Tulsa. That's at 2:30 p.m. So
That one's at
weird.
Tulsa, right?
that
Yeah.
one is at Tulsa.
Yeah.
That one is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the 918. So
Pretty much a home game though. I think more
It
OU
will be.
fans. Yeah,
It
more
will
OU
be.
fans always show up. Yeah.
it'll be more OU fans for certain.
I'm glad that SMU game's at night. I think that's could be a sleepy game for us if we're not up for it.
It's mid afternoon.
September
5 o'clock.
9th. It's September 9th at 5 is not night.
Yeah.
Well, it's
don't-
later.
maybe
It's,
it's a-
later
maybe
in
it's
the
a
it's
great
later in the
time
day. It's
in
later in the day is
California.
what I mean.
It's been a while.
It's
since
later in the
you've
day,
been
yeah.
It's later in the
but-
day is what I meant.
yeah. Yeah.
After
So
5 p.m. is nightish. It's nighttime. It's
they'll
not
have
late
the
afternoon.
they'll have the
It's-
lights on. The lights won't really matter, but they'll have them on.
Yeah.
You know.
The sun won't be fully down by the end of that game. It'll be
I
like
disagree.
8:30, and there will still be a little sun.
A little bit. Sunset.
Possibly.
It's a sunset game. I'm glad it's a sunset game.
The season opener against
Matt.
Arkansas State. That's 11 a.m. on ESPN. That SMU game, 5 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Asterisks right there for you folks who are not subscribed yet to that. You're going to need it if you're going to watch that game. The TU game on the 16th. That's at ESPN or ESPN2, and then the TCU 11 a.m. game. That's a big noon on Fox. So. Yeah, we don't know the rest of the times yet, but that's where we're at for now. I think a season opener at 11 a.m. is dog water. I think it's dumb. I hate it. I know they have an ESPN deal now, and this is just where ESPN told them that they're going to be. So fine, I get it. I don't like it. I don't know. It sits wrong with me, but I don't really have a strong opinion other than that.
It's TV.
Yeah.
It's just TV to me. I actually prefer on September 2nd an 11 a.m. game to a 2:30 game because you're going to see people get taken out on stretchers at a 2:30 game, and won't be the case too bad for an 11 o'clock.
I guess what I wanted out of that Arkansas State game, go ahead and do that one on ESPN Plus. Make that one a 6 o'clock kick or 7 o'clock kick.
Yeah,
That'd be hot.
Do that.
That'd be hot.
I mean,
I would love that.
Yeah, I would say what a way to go out with our last season of Big 12. We start with 11 o'clock and we end with 11 o'clock. I think that's just a big FU by the Big 12 commission and the TV schedule, whatever it might be. My only really concern when I look at this, I know we were talking about 11 o'clock a.m. TCU. We don't know what the time is for the BYU game that previous Saturday. What if that's a night game and then we end up having a short week and having to play at 11 o'clock after Thanksgiving? That's a trap game in itself, depending on what time the BYU game is. So that's why I really want to see what time that game ends up being, because I can see that being a night game in Provo in Utah being a pretty big game at the end of the year as well.
I expect it to be a night game. Now that you say it, Matt,
An excellent point, Matt.
I feel like that's what you're gonna get. BYU gets night games all the time.
They get
that's
Thursday
all they
games
get.
too, so it could be
Yeah.
a Thursday night game.
God, I hope not.
Which would actually be in our favor on
Yeah.
the back end of that, but
Yeah.
it's still wonky.
I would still prefer not a Thursday night game in BYU.
There's no way they would put OU on a Thursday game. That would be atrocious. Maybe not. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I mean, your logic makes sense, but Big 12's their butt hurt, man. They're gonna do whatever they can to make our lives hell.
Yeah,
I mean,
one last point,
they
though.
are, right? It's what Matt said. It's we're coming from Provo to an early week, early day kickoff. That's tough. I think TCU's home the week before.
Patrick,
Yeah, I one last point. I saw a lot of people complaining that our last game in the Big 12 is going to be at 11 a.m. It will be at 11 a.m., but it will be in Arlington for the championship game.
Bingo, bango, bongo, bingo, bango.
bad boy,
Great
Patrick.
Great point.
Bad boy,
Very good
Patrick.
point.
Mhm.
Come on,
Mhm.
come on, Patrick. Some OU Texas news. OU Texas, quote, expected to renew their deal at the Cotton Bowl with improvements to, quote, fan amenities. Patrick, you
What are you
gotta
going to
be-
improve?
You gotta
You got to
be-
improve a lot of stuff at that stadium. Like it's
Patrick,
not a
tell
$1
me.
million improvement. That needs like
Patrick,
10
what do they need? Giant fans, cover? What do they need at the fair?
some
my
air
man?
conditioning, some good concessions,
Yeah, but all the
everything.
good concessions are outside the stadium, not in the stadium.
backrests on
Yeah.
the chair,
Yeah.
parking.
Look, I will agree with Patrick. If you want a water or something inside the stadium, I mean,
Nightmare.
good luck. Good luck. You got to figure something else out. I feel like.
You're gonna miss game time while you're doing it. There's
Yeah.
no way to time it unless
No.
you're just there early.
Yeah. It's
Man. I'm glad that it's gonna stay at the Cotton Bowl, but it is funny to think, like, what improvements are you gonna do? What
Yeah.
are you gonna improve lines? That's not even the problem. The problem is it's hot and I want to drink something.
yeah. If you try to improve the seating, like then you get less people in the stands, because if you put in hardback seats, that's going to take up more space. So those bleachers that people sit on in the upper deck, those will go by the wayside. You'll lose 5,000 seats. Do they really want to lose 5,000 seating dollars of
No.
an OU Texas? I don't think they do. They'll be like, sorry, deal with it. They'll spend the money
Well-
elsewhere to do nothing.
It also seems to me like that's not even on the table. I would think fan amenities wouldn't include structural change to the seats or anything like that.
Probably a new
You know,
video
to
board.
remove stuff.
Yeah,
Pro-
probably a new video board or
Man,
something.
if it's like a new video,
I
board.
promise you, it's gonna be. One of those is really small, and they're
So
gonna
good.
change it. I promise you. And they'll be like, "This is what we did for you." Okay,
Patrick, if they could do one thing, what would it be? Since you're the one who hates the Cotton Bowl the most.
Logistics is my biggest issue with it, but they can't
That's
change
such
that.
a catch-all kind of answer. I don't like it. Matt, what would your choice be?
That's a good question. Some kind of covering more for the people out in the sun, because I've been there last few years and I die every year. Now I don't know if that's possible. Again, that's more structural change, but little shade would go a long way. Trust me, for all those people.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but I'd be down. You know, that'd be cool.
Do they have
Everyone
they
buys it.
have payment machines now, right? You don't have to use cash or
Yes.
tickets.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
You can pay with cards. But the lines have only gotten longer somehow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wonder too if we go with the SEC if they'll change the 11 a.m. kickoff for that game. Do you think they'll ever move the game time? I
They
know
may
did
move
that
it.
one
They
year.
may move it to get it into 2:30 window. Some years.
Yeah,
If OU and Texas are good enough, that'll be a 2:30 kick.
that CBS spot at 2:30. That would be
Well, now it's just the ESPN spot because the Big Ten's going to have that
right.
CBS rights. And yeah, but yeah, that's why. Let us know down below in the comments. By the way, what do you think when they mean fan amenities? What are they going to change? What do you hope the Cotton Bowl changes with all this money that they're talking about throwing around? Mark, I interrupted you.
No, you didn't. OU Texas as a night game would sell bonkers and would get bonkers viewership. So it's really something that I wish that they would consider more. I understand it's a primetime game for one of those daytime spots, but man, it would be fun.
Yeah, be a lot of fun. Okay, some SEC scheduling news. SEC's deciding between 8 and 9 conference games. I'm a little confused by this. I know Mark is confused by it as well. Patrick, do you have insight, or Matt, do you have insight to this?
I think what they're trying to do is 8 games, and then you get one rival, the same rival each year,
Okay.
guaranteed, or 9 games and you get 3 rivals each year guaranteed. So kind of more of like the pots.
Kind of
let
like
me
a
know
pod
if you
thing.
guys-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me know if you guys interpreted it differently.
Yeah, I'm seeing a tweet from Marty Smith at ESPN saying the 2 options are 8 conference games with 1 permanent rival and 7 rotating opponents, or 9 conference games with 3 permanent rivals and 6 rotating opponents.
Okay. So rotating either way.
I think you go 8, actually.
Me too.
I
You don't
think
want to
you
hurt
go-
your
I think you go.
you
8,
don't
too.
want to hurt your chances at a playoff spot for every single one of those teams.
Yeah.
And,
Alabama, you lock in with that. To your point, you lock in Alabama, Auburn, you lock in OU, Texas, you lock in LSU, Arkansas, probably.
Georgia, Tennessee, probably.
Georgia, Tennessee. No, sorry, respectfully, Patrick.
And
It's
you
going to
start
be
losing
Georgia,
some stuff.
Florida.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gonna be
Florida
Georgia, Florida. They
has
have
to
that
be.
neutral site game.
So you're going to end up with some
Yeah.
wonky like Tennessee, Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with some weird ones just because you have to. That's the unfortunate thing about the 8-game schedule.
Which sucks because you're gonna if that's the case, you're gonna lose a lot of really cool rivalries like Alabama, Tennessee. Like you're gonna lose that game. You're gonna lose Georgia and Auburn. Like you're gonna lose some
Maybe.
old school
I mean,
rivalries.
not
They just won't happen every year. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing too.
And it will-
is it's just a new paradigm. Too many teams. Go ahead, Pat.
No, I like it. I like the 8 teams, one consistent each year because it's too heavily swayed where big teams are playing each other, knocking each other out, and like the West gets off scot-free, like, and the East doesn't. So from that perspective, I like this a lot because if we were in a pod with A&M, UT, and LSU every year, and then there's like Vanderbilt, Missouri, Arkansas, and I don't know, Tennessee, then Tennessee's
Tennessee.
going to win every single, like
Dude,
they're
if
going to
you-
get in the championship every year. Now,
Imagine if they do the 3 permanent and A&M has to play OU in Texas for those 2 like
So
every year.
funny.
Be hysterical.
So
Oh my
funny.
God, they'd have a conniption. It'd be
And,
so
and
funny.
saying that, knowing we very possibly will lose games
Yeah.
in that matchup.
Sure.
It's just the reaction.
Yeah. It's just
God,
funny.
it's so good.
like you tried to lead. Good job.
Yeah. Matt,
No, I think it would just. I've heard the pods. I've heard obviously what we discussed here today. So obviously, I think we'll play Texas every year. It'll just be interesting to see now that we're going to add Alabama, Georgia, Florida. I mean, we're going to be playing top quality opponents pretty much every single week. So I think OU has to have the expectation that we're probably going to lose 3 or 4 maybe for the first couple of years, if not more, against good quality opponents until maybe something changes. But then we need to lower our expectations just a wee bit.
Raise them.
I get where you're coming from. Matt. But like,
So
and lowering expectations may be fine. Like, are you gonna run through undefeated or have one loss every year? Probably not. But like, I think 2 losses is like the threshold of like we're not getting lower than that. It's going to be tough every week. I agree. There won't be off weeks unless you're playing Vanderbilt. But it's I don't know. I
the
don't
more
think
interesting thing is, are you 3 or 4 and you're still ranked number 11? Like, have you lost 3 or 4 games and you're still ranked number 11, so you're in the playoff?
true.
Right.
Yeah. Let us know down below in the comments if OU was rotating 3 opponents permanently, what would you want those 3 to be? What would you want those 3 to be? Love to hear what you folks have to say down below in the comments. All right, this would be a little fun little segment we have here. Fun for the people. This is OU players or coaches that have the most to prove during the 2023 season. A little mind melding for the fellas here. And you can tag along with us, sound off in the comments, let us know, tweet at us, comment on our Instagram, all that stuff. Players and coaches are on the table. And Patrick, I want to start with you. Patrick, who has the most to prove in the 2023 season?
I think it's Brent Venables. I'm going to go with the big man, the guy in charge, Brent Venables. We went 3-6 in the Big 12 last year, 8th place. We got shut out to Texas. We lost 5 games by 1 score. There's a lot of unacceptable things that happened last year, and we gave BV and his staff a pass. I don't think we can give him a pass if it's like this again next year. If they're dropping more than 4 games next year, there's a problem with the coaching too at that point. And we thought Brent was going to come in and it would be pretty smooth sailing. We had a lot of expectations for him. We knew it would be a little rocky, but we did not expect to be shut out against Texas. We did not expect to lose that many games. We need to see him manage his coordinators a little better, and we need to get overall a better record. I think he has the most to prove. I don't think he'll be put on a hot seat, but right now we're under the impression that he's a great coach, and he hasn't proved that from a record standpoint yet. Oh, and I love him, by the way. I'm his biggest fan, but he does have the most to prove.
Okay. Any rebuttal?
It's a great point in that if we have last year again, everyone's mad, right? So from that standpoint, yeah, it has to be better. I think that we're sort of baking in a little bit of better, though, when we start talking about the team. And to Patrick's point, 5 games with 1 score, 5 losses by 1 score or less, something like that. I mean, if that's not coaching, I don't know really what it is that you get yourself in that position. Matt, what do you think?
I mean, I think the obvious choice is BV. He's got a lot to prove, high expectations. He's got now his first recruiting class. He's got some 5-star athletes coming in. I don't think there's really any excuses why we shouldn't be back on top of the Big 12, winning the Big 12 championship. If that's not the expectation, if that's not what we achieved this year, I think it's a failure other than that. If we get to the playoffs, I think that's added icing on top, but the Big 12 championship is what we need to get back to, at least starting this year, then heading into the SEC.
Matt, who's your person who has the most proof?
Yeah, I thought long and hard about this, but I think someone who's new needs to earn their keep, and that's the new wide receiver coach, Emmett Jones. I think he's brought in for a particular reason. Yeah, we've seen him definitely make offers already and being hot on the recruiting trail, going after some of these guys. But what we really want to see and what we want to see is the guys that are already there, which I think is probably the biggest unknown position group wise is wide receiver, other outside of Jalil Farouk. Can he develop these guys? We know that he can recruit. He's got the networking abilities in Texas and all that as well. So I have no issue with the recruiting trail. But once he gets the guys in, and can he take the guys that are already in there this year to develop and bring a number 2 or 3 guy that can work alongside Jalil Farouk? I think a lot of the other coaches like Bill B, DeMarco Murray, they've earned their keep there. I think Emmett Jones has this year to prove that as well.
Mark, what you got?
Well, sorry, can I comment on that
Yeah,
first?
absolutely. Go ahead.
No, you may
I
not.
think so. Inherently, I think he has a lot to prove because Cale Gundy's shoes have not been filled yet. They haven't been filled.
Yep.
So whoever that wide receiver coach is has a lot. They have big shoes to fill, and they haven't been filled yet. So
That's Emmett Jones. That's right.
hopefully it's Emmett Jones.
See, to me, it's not filling Cale Gundy's shoes as a wide receiver coach. It's more about someone needs to fill his shoes as a recruiter. So do
Yeah,
you
too.
want Emmett Jones to be a better wide receivers coach, or do you want him to be a better recruiter? That's kind of where I disconnect with you, Patrick, because I don't really see it as needing to fill Cale Gundy's shoes. I feel like that should be somebody who's already on the staff. That should be, Jeff Levy or Bill Bedenbaugh or someone who's already on that offensive staff. Joe John Finley, another name. It should be people like that, not a new guy coming in trying to prove himself. I think he needs to focus on developing the players that are already there and keep recruiting small guys, as Mark said.
When Cale Gundy left the coaching staff, he was by far the longest tenured coach on the staff. I don't think you're going to replace him with any of these guys. He had a very unique place within that staff, and I don't think that we need to keep rehashing it. But just being a good receivers coach and being a good recruiter is not the whole Cale Gundy thing. He meant more to kind of what that staff was than that. My guy, and I sort of took it a similar direction as Matt, but my player is Jalil Farouk, man. Podcast 17 of a little show called the Program Guys Podcast. We did our OU spring predictions. It was May 3rd, 2022. Ryan had us losing one game and being the Big 12 champion. That's so much fun. Mason, you had us ranking top 10 in total defense at the end of the year.
Oh.
Did not quite get there, buddy.
No.
Patrick, you said Stoops would have the most catches. Wrong, but not too bad, right? And Matt, you said DG would have a 2-to-1 touchdown ratio.
He did.
Wow.
He sure
You're
did.
a star. You're a stud.
I did
My
change it,
guess,
but yeah.
my prediction was that Jalil Farouk would lead the team in receiving yards. And he came up short of that. He was third on the team in receiving yards behind Marvin Mims and Braden Willis, two guys who are leaving. In fact, of all of our production from last year, just over 3,000 yards passing, only 965 of that is returning, 8 touchdowns. Half of those touchdowns are Jalil Farouk. People are talking as if we do not have a number one receiver. I think it's up to him to prove that in the absence of a Marvin Mims NFL wide receiver on the field, he is that number one guy. We don't need another person to step up. We need Jalil with the increased volume to be able to continue to be as effective and as efficient as he is when he catches the ball and makes plays off of that. Towards the end of the season, we saw him used almost as a gadget player, running swings, running sweeps, all sorts of fun little things. I think it's great to have that in his game. But Jalil Farouk's a great route runner. He's 6'1". He's not Marvin Mims 5'10" or anything like that. He can really play receiver as well. And I think it'll behoove the Sooners a lot to get him the ball because I think he's got a lot to prove and he knows it too. All we've talked about is these tall receivers and how they need to be the ones stepping up and making plays. You don't think all of these kids are online, man. They're so online. You don't think they hear the chatter too? I think Jalil Farouk is going to come out with a bone to pick and really prove his worth this season. That's my pick. Mason,
I feel like he's going to have to, Mark. You know what I mean? Like you look at the wide receiver room. He's the elder statesman for the most part, besides 7th-year senior Drake Stoops. I don't know if he's 7th year. I'm joking. But yeah, I mean, Jaleel has to show up because if they don't, then they're in massive trouble. They're in massive trouble because you don't know what Andrew Anthony can bring to the table in this offense. You genuinely don't. You can look at Michigan highlights, but what does that tell you? You know, exactly. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, exactly.
Is DJ Graham going to be something?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a lottery ticket, right?
I know.
Jaleel has to be stepping up.
Tell you what, if Gavin Freeman is more than a gadget player, you're in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, all due respect to the kid. I already got one of those. His name's Drake Stoops. He does just fine. I don't need another one of those guys. I need dudes who are going to be in there, ready to catch jump balls, looking good. That's what I need. Anybody else on the wide receivers?
Oh, I just love how Mark said, like, we need to look for Jaleel to be elevated, not look for other guys around him. Because you're right, Mark. We need him to be the best and outshine everyone else. That's how we'll be successful this year.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
My players that have the most to prove is going to be the defensive line as a unit. So, Rondell Bothroyd, Jordan Kelly, Isaiah Coe, Ethan Downs. You can throw Reggie Grimes in there, Devon Sears in there, R. Mason Thomas. Those guys have to be great if you are going to be a great football team. Plain and simple, period. When Brent Venables was at the top of the defensive world and Clemson was at the top of the world, their defensive line was terrifying. Effing terrifying. They have to be the most feared unit. They have to be the most feared unit on that defense. Quarterbacks need to come into the OU game each week nervous as hell because they're worried about getting hit 15 times a game. I'm not saying you need 15 sacks a game. I'm saying you need to be in that quarterback's face, causing him problems, making his decision time quicken up, because then it makes your linebacker's job easier. It makes your secondary's job easier. All of that stuff happens because your defensive line can get pressure and they're better than the offensive line that they're playing. I think they have the most to prove because they were okay last year for sure. They were serviceable, but they got to be great. If this team's going to be great, they have to be great.
Agreed.
Okay.
I love that all around. We expect to see a big step up from the linebackers, and that doesn't happen if you don't also have the defensive front step up too. Those units are in lockstep.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw too many times last year where our linebackers are out of position because a lineman is getting shoved back in their face. And I think it's going to be a very good thing seeing the new talent that has come in. The freshmen are one thing. Devon Sears is coming in. Rondell Bothroyd coming in. Trace Ford coming in. We have a bunch of adults along that line. And we had adults, but they weren't very good. So now we have better adults. They moved Jonah Laulu inside. I think that's going to be an excellent move for him. I love this one, Mason.
Good. Pat, anything to add?
No, not on that. But could we all do one more with no commentary? I just feel like I got another.
Okay, yeah. I mean, go ahead. It's your show.
One more. Everyone has one with no comment. Okay.
Yeah.
Marcus Major.
Let me get off this train. Goodness gracious.
That's
No,
really
like-
good.
Yeah.
Oh, for
He's
those
got a lot to prove.
for those, this doesn't have to have a comment necessarily, but for those of you who are wondering, Ryan put in our little rundown that Dylan Gabriel has the most to prove. So that's the least shocking thing that I've ever seen. Yeah.
And when he said it too, he was like, "It's the obvious one." Well, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Hey, let's have a discussion, right?
Yeah,
We
I
can
know.
talk about it.
Yeah. Magan, anything?
Nope.
Gotta love it. All right. Let us know down below in the comments who has the most to prove in the OU 2023 season. Coach, or did I freeze again?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I'm stressed out, man. Got me freaking out over here. Okay, last week our restaurant draft, a whole lot of fun. So remember how I said that I was going to put it up as a poll and I didn't do that. So shout out to me. That was pretty sick of me to not deliver on promises.
It was
Shout out to me.
cool.
Yeah.
Hey, We
Yeah.
got content out from it. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, pretty sick.
Dude, it went crazy on Twitter, and there were like 200 views on that video.
I know,
You
it's
guys
crazy.
have got to share the podcast if
Yeah.
you like what we're doing here.
Yeah. We know you like it. You tell us on social media. Just share with some friends. Share with 5 friends right now. Stop what you're doing right now and share with 5 friends.
We started
That's
getting like big hitter OU Twitter people,
Mm-hmm.
dropping in and giving a note, and it's like, I know you didn't watch.
Yeah.
I know you didn't watch.
No, they didn't watch. But some honorable mentions that we didn't mention that we wanted to, I guess that's the definition of an honorable mention, Mason. Classic 50s, one of those. Pepe Delgado's, here for the Shadows. Penny Hill is another one as well. And if you know Penny Hill, but you didn't know Tex Delphia before that, I got nothing for you, fam. I got nothing for you. The real OG of Lindsay and what is that? What's that intersection?
I know exactly what
No.
you're talking about.
It's not Barry, is it? Is it Barry?
I think it's Barry.
Yeah,
Could
Lindsay
be.
and Barry. Hell yeah.
Lindsay and Barry. Texadelphia is wonderful. Penny Hill is actually really great there. It's a good
I've
spot.
never. I was talking to my little brother about this. I never have been there. I've
Yeah,
never been there.
Yeah,
For as
came in
much
late
as,
in the game for us. So
like I heard people talk about it and stuff, I never went there. Not for like I hated it or I just didn't go for whatever
Well,
reason.
I was
One-
I liked it there.
go Matt.
I was gonna say one fan of the podcast used to work there, so we used to go to the PhD all the time and snag a few brews. So
Yeah.
shout out.
Yeah. Was that Colin? It was.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Rageburg.
Shout out to Colin.
It's funny. It's funny. I was actually talking to Matt offline, and he was saying if that draft had only gone a couple more rounds longer, he was saying a few things that we also missed. There's a really good Longhorn Steakhouse in Norman.
Oh yeah.
The Red Lobster is divine. He said better than half the things we drafted. That's what Matt said.
It's
And
unreal.
hey, I love some biscuits, but this was tough.
Yeah.
It was a tough in-person conversation that we didn't record.
No one's more upset that the McAllister's Deli is now a Velvet Taco than Matt Gann.
Oh, is it
that's-
really?
Yeah, it is.
That's a
It
good
is.
ad.
I was in Norman this past weekend actually, and it was delightful.
Yeah.
God, just a great town. Shout out Jimmy Austin Golf Course. Beautiful.
Such a great
Oh.
place.
Dude, it's wild how you just drive through Norman and you're like, this place rocks, dude. Like this
Yeah.
place is sick. And it was
You want to just go down Main Street?
yeah, like you wanna just-
you're just driving down 35 and like, hey, we have a few minutes.
yeah. No, I took the long way to Jimmy Austin. I exited like an exit early so I could drive through campus just to like go the back way, go like a ass backwards way, just because I wanted to. Drove by the Dell House.
I love going the back way in Norman.
Yeah, down Timberdale. That's how you do it right there. A lot of you folks ain't about that Timberdale life. We're about it. Matt, anything to add? You Norman
Guy's
native?
driven.
Got a lot of good food places. Let me tell you.
No, you don't. You're
Check
a
out
fraud.
my list if you're ever in Norman.
All right, Matt. I want to circle the
Up in
wagons.
Tulsa.
I want to circle the wagons because we have a massive weekend, last weekend to cover, as well as coming up this weekend. Tell me about it,
Today,
Matt. Tell
if
me
you're
about it. I'm not
listening
going
to
to
the
steal
pod
your
on
thunder.
Drop Day.
I'm not going to steal your thunder.
OU softball continuing to cruise on through the regionals this past weekend, playing in the supers at home against Clemson. Probably some of the best back-to-back games, I think, OU softball,
Crazy.
especially with the challenges that they had overcome. I mean, half of their games, they've run-ruled their opponents, but Clemson really gave the OU a good test, especially heading now into the Women's College World Series. But before we get there, first game beating Clemson 9-4 is actually a pretty close game. It was 4-4 at one point until Burrito hit a grand slam, I believe in the top of the fifth or bottom of the fifth, one of the innings. And really just after that, Clemson brought in a new pitcher. We hit a solo home run after that and really jump out in front 9-4. but definitely good first game as well. Going into the second game, would Clemson bounce back? They have their All-American player playing, Valerie Cagle. She ended up pitching both days. We were down 7-4 going into the last inning. Kinsey Hansen comes up. There's 2 outs, 2 players on base, and she's got an 0-2 count. And she launches a ball right over in a home run park to tie the game in the very last inning. And we go on with Tiara Jennings to blast a solo home run in the 8th and close it out with Jordy Ball in the 9th to secure our spot into the Women's College World Series. And again, I believe that second game might have been the best OU softball game when it comes to all 3 different positions. But what a comeback to get into the World Series, which obviously will take place in Hall of Fame Stadium, Oklahoma City. We're going to be playing, actually, when you guys are listening to the podcast, we play today at 1:30 against Stanford. So make sure to tune in as they make their run through the World Series and hopefully back-to-back championships as well. They also did announce some All-American listings. Oklahoma had a couple Sooners on there. So first-team All-Americans are Jordy Ball, Tiara Jennings, Jaden Coleman, Alyssa Brito, and Kinsey Hansen, all first-team All-Americans, while second-team came in Grace Lyons and Haley Lee. Grace Lyons also won Shortstop of the Year. Well-deserved. She is probably the best shortstop OU has ever had in OU softball history, and that's saying a lot with a couple.
Wait. Did you say Grace Lyons was second team, though?
Correct. Yeah.
She was Shortstop of the Year?
Yeah. The what's the award called? Let me see. I have it pulled up here.
Things aren't adding up. It's not adding
the
up.
Rawlings Golden Glove.
Okay.
So maybe it's best offensive player. Either way.
But I get what you're saying. Regardless, that's weird. That's super weird.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, that Nicole May, another pitcher, because we have 4 really good pitchers. I'm really surprised that Alex or Nicole May didn't get first or second team. But I think that just shows you the depth of softball overall, but still quite a bit of All-Americans just on the Sooner lineup. So good luck to the women as they play today, again, against Stanford. Other news, OU's women's tennis, the team might be done, but the individual tournament happened this weekend. One of our players, Lane Slither, made it to the individual championships against number 14, Fan Grantien from UCLA, coming up short. But listen to this girl's stats so far, just 2 years at OU. She's a 2-time All-American, singles runner-up. She's the first Sooner to advance past round of 16. Her singles record is 50-18, and her doubles record is 38-19. And she is was the 2022 Big 12 Newcomer of the Year. This girl is insane. I'm not sure if you guys watch tennis. I know Patrick is a big tennis fan, but Oklahoma singles girl Lane Slither had an outstanding season along with OU's women's tennis. So congrats to her for getting runner-up. OU golf advancing to the NCAA tournament in Grayhawk this past weekend. Coming up short, did not even make the first cut into the weekend itself. So really another disappointing year as they had a pretty good season last year. Drew Goodman and Jay Simi also advanced into individual championships, where Drew Goodman tied for 18th, which notched his second straight top 20 finish. So another, I would say, disappointing for the season, and Ryan Hibble as they just continue to come up short in the NCAA championships, but hopefully they can bounce back next year. Quick news on OU basketball. They got transfer from Georgia Tech, one of Mark Hall's favorite schools. Jalon Moore, 6'7" wing, who averaged 7 points and 4 rebounds. So Porter Moser had a lot of people enter the transfer portal and leave, but he's also gotten quite a bit of transfers as they add another guy in the transfer portal. So again, it's going to be a little bit of a makeshift team, as there's not a lot of starting production that has come back to OU this season. So we'll have to see how he handles that as well. OU baseball playing in the Big 12 tournament down in Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas this past weekend, beating OSU in the first game 9-5, ended up losing in the second round to Texas Tech 10-9, and losing again to OSU to get out of the Big 12 tournament 8-3. They actually are still advancing to the postseason after the Sunday selection. They are in the Charlottesville Regional with number 7 Virginia, Army, and East Carolina. And their first game will be Eastern Carolina this weekend. So still a lot of teams in the postseason to go. A lot of teams have come up short, but we'll see how OU's baseball and softball ends up going. That is Circle the Wagons.
RPI saved OU baseball. They made the tournament based on RPI because their conference record was not good. But because I think 15 of the 16 regional hosts were top 16 in RPI. So the committee greatly valued how important RPI was, and that's why OU made it. So shout out to the Sooners. See if they can make another magical run. Let's try to figure something out. Also, I heard a lot of Twitter or a lot of like chatter guys, and I wanted to kind of get your thoughts, especially Matt's, because Matt did say something about that game on Saturday being one of the all-time great games in OU history. Do we really feel that way? I mean, because if you lose that game, you still have another, and you play another, and you probably win that game. I feel like it was a great game and a great celebration. Like, you broke the record and all of that stuff. That's amazing. But like, in terms of like all time OU athletics lore, that's up there.
It might be the
one of
most
best.
entertaining one I've ever seen.
Okay. I think
that's
can
a
live
Which is
with
better
a
way to
different
put it.
category. Which is a different category.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the greatest
What'd you say,
game
Matt?
would have been if we won 15-0 against Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would have been, but it was an awesome comeback. Exciting, like Mark said.
I think it just has a lot to do with, you come back, you punch your ticket to the World Series, and you break the record simultaneously. Patty Gasso's birthday, it had a lot of stuff that tied into it that probably made it that exciting. You had all the people at the game in the home run park, watching outside on the big screen, just a really cool environment. So I get it. I just thought it was interesting. I heard a lot of people talking about how important the game was. And I'm like, if they lost, they would have played another and then probably would have won because Grace Lyons would have pitched.
Right.
So just, I don't know.
All good points. I agree with you. But we're moving on to MVPs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead. Mine's Kinsey Hansen.
hey,
She was up at bat. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
no, we're all the way here. Like, we got to the end of this episode, right? And we allowed it to get to this far. Mason, tell me about the Boston Celtics, King.
Oh,
Yeah. That's fair. So yeah. Celtics come all the way back and
Historic.
get to game 7 and just completely fall apart. Your two best players, your two stars, two guys who are supposed to get max contracts, super max contracts. Let me rephrase that. One rolled his ankle in the first possession of the game and was not the same after. I'm not going to put this all on Jason Tatum. Like, he was obviously injured and hobbled. I get it. Tough, not fun. Jaylen Brown refuses to know how to dribble with his left hand, and I've never seen anything like it. The Miami Heat were doing radio shows today, and they said that the game plan was to make Jaylen Brown go left. You're an NBA player trying to get a super max contract, and they are literally treating you like a fifth grader, saying you can't go left.
that's hilarious.
That's embarrassing. It's so bad. You come all the way back, make this incredible comeback. You're at home, and you just piss down your leg. It's pathetic. They had no defensive intensity that they had for the 3 previous games. They stopped caring. It was obvious to anyone watching the game. They didn't try to attack the basket. People want to say, oh, the Celtics, just didn't shoot well from 3. Stop shooting threes. Stop shooting threes. Go to the basket.
Revolutionary.
We didn't play Robert Williams as much as we should have. He was unguardable. Bam, you could say what you want about Bam Adebayo. He was lost when Rob Williams was in the game. Absolutely unequivocally lost on the defensive and offensive end. Rob Williams should have played a million minutes, but it's fine. I mean, people want to tell me that Joe Mazzulla is the coach for this team and he should get a little credit because he's 30 something years old and this is his first job and he took it over for Ime Udoka. That's fine. I don't want a project coach for a team that's built to win now. That's if you want that, then you have brainworms. You have brainworms. You should not want a head coach who is getting his first job. LeBron James isn't on this team. LeBron James isn't carrying a head coach to a solid record. No, that's not what happens. These guys are unproven. They haven't won before. They need a proven winner at a head coach who can come in there. I'm done. I'm very
Great
disappointed.
points.
I'm very disappointed.
The Celtics were the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference this year by 1 game. Do you think Joe is back, Mazzulla?
Yeah, I think he is. And I'm infuriated by it. He's going to be back.
Joe Mazzulla will be back. Do you think that Jaylen Brown gets the long extension? Or the max, the super max? 5 for $295. That's the number.
I think he does, which I don't want him to. Not that I dislike Jaylen Brown. I think he's a good player, but I would rather pay Jason Tatum a ton of money and build around Jason Tatum instead of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown taking up 75% of our cap space.
If the Hawks had not given the game away for DeJounte Murray, that would be such a perfect trade partner next to Trae Young. He doesn't even have to dribble.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. The problem is they have a lot of work to do. Like Brad Stevens has a ton of work to do. And there was news that broke today that basically all the Celtics assistant coaches are leaving to go be with Ime Udoka in Houston. So now you're not only trusting Joe Mazzulla to game plan and figure out how to have a game plan. Now he has to build a whole staff of dudes who he doesn't know. I mean, what are we doing? It's just, but they're gonna keep him because you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You're 1 win away, and I genuinely think they get to the finals and they lose in 5 games. That team loses to the Nuggets in 5 games. There's no shot. There's no shot they beat them. I won't say what the Heat are gonna do, but the Nuggets are damn good. Nuggets are damn good.
Matt?
Yeah,
Stars?
The other green team of disappointment, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the Stars didn't get all the way to a game 7. They were trying to force a game 7, but I did go to the game thinking we had all the momentum. We were getting our captain, Jamie Benn, back after a 2-game suspension. All of the momentum was on the Stars side, and they came.
He was
out.
your LVP last week.
Yeah, and he was my LVP. Well, he would be this week if I didn't have a great MVP this week, but came out pretty flat, losing 6-0 to Vegas. And give all credit to Vegas. They were definitely the better team for most of the series, and they deserve to get into the Stanley Cup. But coming out to a showing in a Western Conference final game and getting blank 6-0 at home after winning 2 straight games and looking like the better team, really, really bad way to end of the year. And they got a lot of unrestricted free agents. We've locked up a lot of our younger guys, our goalie, Miro and Rope, but there's a lot of additional pieces that this team needs, especially on the defensive pairing. So bittersweet ending getting so far that we did. I really enjoyed going to all the playoff series, but they got a lot of work to do as well. And Jim Neal, the GM, got some work to do in the offseason for sure.
You say your goalie, Morrow?
No, goalie is Jake Ottinger, and our best player is Miro Heiskanen, who's 23 years
Miro.
old.
I thought you said Morrow.
Miro.
Okay.
Miro.
All right. Well, if you stuck around through the monologues of me and Matt, welcome back. We're going to do our PGP MVPs. Patrick, you started us off. Go ahead.
Sure. I'll say it again. Kinsey Hansen.
Boom.
2 outs, 48-game win streak on the line. Patty Gasso's birthday. You have to hit a home run. And she just does it. It was incredible to watch. Such a clutch moment.
And it was a good pitch. Like the pitch was a hard.
I didn't think she hit it out of the park just by the way she
Yeah.
hit it. I was like, I don't feel like the way she hit that was going out. But
Yeah.
crazy.
Mark, who's your MVP, man?
Yeah, I was thinking about it this week. We hit 1,500 not that long ago, and we got a lot of engagement with the food thingy last week. Bill Beatonbow's a follower now. We've sort of made it, right?
Yeah, we're there.
I was really thinking the MVPs for me are the OG day one program guys.
That's right.
I'm talking Okie Trades. I'm talking Brett Crawford. I'm talking Jay Mosh. I'm talking Jeremy. I'm talking Jimmy Satterfield, who came in and very kindly last week corrected me on my BS. That's great. You know what? That's the kind of atmosphere we want in these comment sections. I love it. I love you guys. Y'all are my MVPs, the OG program guys.
Awesome. Matt Gann, MVP, brother.
I'm going a different direction here. I think Tyson would be proud. So, Tyson, when you listen to this, please text me about it. But I'm going Hollywood Oscar-winning actor Al Pacino, known for his roles in Godfather and Scarface. 83 years old, having a child. There is still ammunition in that chamber. He is expecting with his 29-year-old partner, Noor, on another kid. And I believe he came out and said, I still got one in me. That is a hard line for someone who's 83 years old and expecting another child. MVP, Al Pacino, Oscar winner. We love to see it.
This is awesome, Matt. This is the best MVP yet.
Yeah, Matt, that's
so good.
Matt, that's pretty good. I want to give a commenter of the week. We got to be better about getting commenters of the week. I found this from Stink Ass Cat. Pretty sure this is
yes.
That's the name that they're going for. Stink Ass Cat said, I totally agree that any negative comments isn't what's good for the program or recruiting. I live in Southern California, and as an OU fan, it pains me to see so much negativity. Love the tie-in of restaurant owner to OU program. Let's go Raise Barbecue. Thank you to Stink Ass Cat for commenting. You're our commenter of the week. And round it out, my MVP is South Florida sports fans. You're going to the NBA Finals for the Miami Heat. You're going to the Stanley Cup Final with the Florida Panthers. You have the Miami Dolphins, who look like they have a pulse. And the Miami Marlins don't look to be a complete dumpster fire for the first time in like 10 years. So
like a place in the East, right?
Yeah. So, hey, things are looking up. Mario Cristobal maybe figuring it out at Miami. You know, who knows? South Florida sports kind of figuring it out, but really it's about the Heat and the Panthers. They're both in the finals and finals for all you puck heads out there. But yeah, that's
mother puckers,
man. That's gonna do it for me. Anybody else? Anything else before we get out?
Yeah, two things.
We miss you, Ryan.
Yeah, we miss you, Ryan. Heat and Panthers are the teams of destiny, and I'm pretty sure Patrick is the burner account from based on the comment. So I think Patrick is Stinky Cat.
It's not my burner. It's not my burner.
It's not your burner, but you have one.
That did not sound like he doesn't have a burner.
It's not.
Right?
It's
that
not
just
my
sounds
burner.
like that's not it.
This guy.
But me and Trevor should grab a beer with him. We love SoCal Sooners.
Yeah, very much so.
Hey, and I know you just offline love stink ass cats.
No.
So
Dude, man.
It's not my burner.
it could be.
Bam.
Yeah.
Patrick.
We're gonna see Patrick getting a beer with a fan. It's just gonna be him and Trevor. Like he is stink ass cat. Trevor's gonna be like, I'm with stink ass cat.
Dude, let us know down below in the comments who you think Patrick's burner is. Just look through all the comments and try to find out who his burner is. And we love to hear. That's going to do it for episode number 73. It's in the books. Be sure to like, subscribe on YouTube channel. Try and hit 1,600 subscribers. Helps us out more than you know. It costs you $0, people. $0 to subscribe to the channel. Helps us out a whole lot. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, that's where you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. We will see y'all next week. I will be in New York next week, but I'll be here for the show. That's going to do it. Patrick is out.
Keep pushing, baby.